to start a company. That company's 3D Robotics. What do you do?
We make drones. This is one of them, but we're the world's leading open UAV platform with Android drones. And this started as a hobby about 6 years ago. I started a website called DIY Drones. Sort of realized that the technology inside smartphones, the sensors, the GPS, and the radios, etc., would also be fantastic for aerial robotics.
Oh, yeah.
Started whacking away at it, and 2 years later, now we run, among other things, a Tijuana drone factory where this is made.
So you started this adventure. When did you start that DIY Drones website? It feels like
2007.
So you've been covering or just geeking out to drones for 7 years.
Yeah.
And you left the greatest job in technology, being the editor of Wired Magazine, working for Condé Nast, where they buy you houses in the Hamptons and have
Multiple houses.
houses in the Hamptons. And you left that job to start a company to make drones. What is the state of the company? How many people work on it? How many drones do you ship? I mean, just generally broad speaking.
So we have about 180 employees. We raised about 37 million in venture capital. Manufacturing in Tijuana, engineering in San Diego. I'm in the Berkeley office where we do software business. We do sort of tens of thousands. Most of what we sell are autopilots, which is the brain, if you will. Looks like that. So this is the sensors and the processors and software. And you put this in any vehicle and it becomes a fully autonomous GPS-guided drone.
There you go. So this is basically, is it like an Arduino, like a computer?
Originally we started with Arduino. This is now a Cortex M4. It's basically a smartphone processor, smartphone sensors, but laid out with the appropriate connectors and software for drones.
Now all these connectors, I see I guess that's telemetry.
Telemetry, GPS, power monitoring, various sensors.
At the heart of this drone technology, what makes this all possible? What was the innovation that made drones go from being just not in people's consciousness? And these are quadcopter drones or copter drones?
These are quadcopters. They also come with 6. It's called a hexacopter. Octocopters are fixed-wing aircraft or even rovers. This is a universal autopilot, does it all. But the enabling technologies were MEMS sensors, the gyroscopes, the accelerometers, the magnetometers, the GPS getting very cheap and very good. Radio technology is basically exactly the same stuff that's in your phone.
So because so many people in the world bought smartphones, that technology became so cheap and so tiny that it could fly.
I call it the peace dividend of the smartphone wars. It's that the economies of scale, the Apples and Googles, made this technology that used to be military industrial extremely expensive, available for a few bucks at Radio Shack. And then you would combine it with open platforms like Arduino, Raspberry Pi, BeagleBone, and then of course the web, the open innovation community. So this is open source hardware, open source software. We have 50,000 members in the community who collectively build this. This is the kind of stuff that 10 years ago would have been a $10 million Lockheed product. 5 years ago would have been $1 million, and now it's $750, just coming to Walmart Center.
Really? Not really. Well, okay, so in 5 years, over 10 years, what do you estimate an Iris, which is your latest?
Yeah, this is only released last week, by the way.
Only released last week. What would the Iris cost, in your mind, this equivalent technology, 10 years from now?
$99.
$99. Wow. And I assume by that time, it's going to be even more stable.
It's going to be, so this right now is optimized for GoPro, and so, thank you. If you, it's got a gimbal on the bottom, and as you can see, as you move it around, the gimbal holds it absolutely stable.
Right.
You get sort of Hollywood quality video from that. It's GPS guided, it's got telemetry, so you can control it with your phone or tablet.
Mm-hmm.
So those elements right now are really designed for GoPros. As we go forward 5 years, they're going to get much smaller. So this weighs a couple pounds, and you're not going to carry it in your pocket. But there's no reason why, as cameras get better, that can't be something you carry in your pocket.
Let's talk about stability for a second. If one of the copters or rotors goes down, this falls from the sky.
On a quadcopter, it does. But if you want that kind of redundancy, you go to 6 or 8. Once you have 6 or 8 props, then you can lose one. It'll stay there.
Can you lose 2?
It depends which 2.
Okay. 2 on one side, no. 2 on opposite sides, maybe. So are we going to fly this, actually?
I think we are.
Okay, let's fly this. Who's going to do it?
So my colleague my colleague John here is going to, now this by the way is an open platform, so what I described to you was our software and electronics. We make drones, but we also make it available to anybody else. So for example, the pocket drone that you saw yesterday, same platform. It's our software, our electronics as well, and the one that Chris is going to be showing you is also our platform. So again, we use the Android model. This sends the Android of drones, and it can be used in any hardware platform.
Got it. And okay, so we're going to see this.
So we're going to see whether we can get the RF. We should be able to kind of broadcast, maybe able to get the broadcast the video as well.
Okay, there it is. We see the video out there. It's perfect.
So it's probably going to spin up now. That was the arming sound.
And how safe do we feel these are these days?
Well, we're not going to fight over the audience.
He did yesterday.
Yes.
You don't advise that, huh? Can you bring it down a little lower and closer to us?
So as you can see, John's controlling the gimbal as well. So he's looking down there.
Now, if somebody were to touch one of the things, does it recover nicely?
Yeah. It's designed to be basically like a camera zoom. It can go anywhere with that kind of zoom level stability.
It makes a bit of noise.
It does.
Is the noise is there a way to mitigate against the noise, or that's just par for the course?
You can use different props, and you can lower it a bit, but ultimately you're blowing air around.
It's gonna be that way. It is fascinating how stable they've become. 3 or 4 years ago, would you have done a demo like this at a conference, or would anybody?
I would have, but I wouldn't have been very smart to do so. It would not have been as reliable, wouldn't have been as stable, it wouldn't have had that stabilized gimbal on the bottom either.
Right. That's a key there, is that you're now able to do, and we have a little bit of just fairness to the...
Yeah, so we're actually recording in high def. It's a GoPro, so we're recording in high def, which is
But
perfect.
the video you're seeing up there, just so people know, when we do show the video, there's a little interference here, because of all the Wi-Fi going in.
So outdoors, you wouldn't have this already.
You wouldn't have all that. All right, so what are these going to enable in your mind? What's the 2 or 3 most important things for society that led you to want to do this?
Well, this is sort of the golden age of photography and video. We basically, with the iPhones in our pockets and the quality of cameras, we have the ability to take Hollywood quality videos of our own lives. We're called the ultimate selfie.
Right.
And as you can see, we now have, for the first time in history, we can see the world from a vantage above eye level. And we can see it in beautiful high def, gorgeously stabilized, as if we had as if we were Steven Spielberg with that kind of quality program. So I think that creatively, it allows us to visualize our own world from a new vantage. From a commercially, this is big data. This could come to crop mapping. We have the ability to put sensors in the air below the level of satellites, above the level of the ground. We do it almost for free.
Almost for free. All right, and obviously security is something that people see as a big thing here. And that's where our next company, Skycatch, comes in. So why don't we bring that bad boy in for a landing.
Nice shot.